Mike. Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? Just checking audio before we start with an intro. How is everyone doing today? I think we're up.
Yeah, I'm right now sick, but I'm
see
hanging
it.
in there.
Yeah, I can see us, but I can't hear us on the stream. Oh shit! Now it's happening.
Yeah,
Okay.
now it. Let me double check.
Just checking audio
before we start with an intro. Your audio is fine. I think I can hear ourselves.
YouTube, I'm muting it.
Yeah, I'm right now sick, but I'm
see
hanging
it.
in there.
Okay, I'm gonna jump out of my own live because I think it will come through. Anyway, right. I'm gonna start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Left Wave Transmission podcast. How is everyone doing? How's everyone week's been? My name is Matriarch Type. I'm joined today by Bridget Empire and Soul Bunny. Well, we are still missing a couple people, but we will get it soon, I'm sure. So yeah, we're going to have a bit of a quick one today. Talk about the recent news. It's lovely to be joined by everyone. How are you both doing, lovely ladies?
Oh, ass. But by the way, we can hear echoes of all of us in, and I don't know who it is. It could be any of us.
I think that might have been me in the live. Like, so I had to just check my own live to make it was working. I think it might have been that. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to do it without doing that. Is it gonna?
I can still hear it.
Oh, really? Bear with me.
Yeah, I can hear my own voice now.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear
Mm.
me?
I can hear your voice. Yeah, I can hear my own voice louder from 5 seconds ago.
Okay.
It might be delayed, and then it might stop eventually. Hopefully. Bear with me. We will get this eventually, crew. Bear with us. Everyone's good one. Yeah, I think.
Might be on your end, Soul Bunny. I don't know. Can you? I don't know.
Maybe if we jump. Have you got headphones, Soul Bunny? I know sometimes.
Yeah, I have headphones on.
Oh, you have them on. Oh, it can't be. Yeah, probably not Soul Bunny's side then.
Sorry, my hair is so dark and my camera's. I couldn't grab my camera, so you can't tell I'm wearing headphones. It blends into my dark hair.
It's just so natural.
Let me close.
I think it might resolve. It might resolve in a minute because basically from where I hit like go and then the live stream, there's like a 5-second delay, and I had to double check the audio, and also like work out the like levels. So it might kind of sort itself out in a few seconds. Let me know if it keeps going. Okay. Or have you still got the live open, Bridget?
I do, but it's muted.
Okay.
I'll close it. I closed it. It's still going. Yeah.
If it's muted, yeah. Are you still getting an echo now? Why it worked last time, didn't it? Why is this so? If I mean, it can't be my microphone, otherwise it wouldn't come through. I can slightly hear it now, actually, I think.
Mm.
Let me ask chat, how is the audio?
How do I sound? Do I sound okay?
Well, that was quite loud. No, yeah, that was loud again. I think your input was okay.
Okay. Alrighty.
That was perfect before. I think it might just be I've got like a microphone set twice or something. Bear with chat. How do I do anything in this one? People are saying it seems fine. It might just be us, and then let me just double check on like a separate device. She says flashing a phone right now.
If it's just me, I'm gonna have to go to call a doctor because then I'm genuinely be hearing things.
People are saying it seems fine. It might just be.
Hello. How do we sound? I'm looking at my levels. Everything's fine.
Yeah. I think on the actual live it's fine, so I'm gonna say we'll just keep going if that's okay, and then if if it gets too much, we'll work it out for next time. But I think it sounds okay. Everyone okay? Chat. Let us know if there's anything, if there's a problem. So,
Yeah,
what are we
totally.
talking about today, lovely ladies? Should we start with Trump and the Knicks thing, or should we leave that till last?
I'm fine right now doing that right now because it's such a breaking story. Like it just broke, I
Yeah.
think yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have only seen the actual, probably viral at this point, viral clip itself. But it did kind of remind me of Eurovision, which we didn't actually talk about, so I can maybe make a link about that. But I'll go kind of last because that's like a bit of a obscure link. But did you both see the clip of him getting booed and stuff, like, and the awkward like granddaughter in the background? It was like,
Oh, that's what you're
wild.
talking about. Oh, I was thinking of the interview where he walked off because
Oh,
he said that California, what's it called, the LA governor or mayor race was rigged or election fraud,
yeah.
and he like stormed off because he was mad that the reporter was just saying the truth.
Like just the basic, she just held him to like the smallest amount of accountability, and he was like, I think it was like raining as well, wasn't it, in the interview? And it was like, that was too much for him. Like, but that, how scary is that? Like the president of the United States can't even handle that. Like, what would he do if he was talking with like other leaders of the world?
I just feel like we have, well, particularly me, because it's my country, my president. Sadly, you know, I didn't vote for him, but I'm ready for this network to be over. It's just like this is. I mean, my biggest thing is that it's not just the Republicans. Like the Democrats are cowards because
100%.
no one wants to impeach him. Everyone's too afraid of his rap. We need to stop being afraid of his rap and just go on with like push forward. And he needs to go. But because everyone is so afraid to piss off the dictator, no one has a spine. Like the only people that do are progressives and whatnot. But like everyone is trying to do the slow route. Like no, we don't have time for that. This guy is doing everyone else. It's like the amount of I'm sick. The amount of money he just made recently, like with the UFC thing. Before he put that on, he had just bought $50,000 of stocks. That runs the UFC and whatnot, and then through the event they go profit. Like these are things that's always been established as illegal, but
Yeah.
like yeah, like at the end of the day, like I think what it is that if I'm being honest, I think Democrats are purposely being incompetent because they think it's easier to just run in 2028 and get someone in, and they just think they're gonna like, which is gonna do irreparable harm if we just like let this guy stay in there longer than he needs to.
Oh, 100%.
So like
Yeah.
I think that's their strategy. They don't want to acknowledge why they lost 2024 either. It's just like we got incompetent people who don't want to be honest and don't want to stand up, and then it's just like constantly being gaslit, and we're just over it. Like, oh god, I can't say what I want to say because we're streaming, but I always hope someone just be brave already and just do it already.
Someone just needs to get, like, yeah, for all of the practice that your country gets.
I mean, all these guns we got and whatnot,
Although,
and nobody stepping up.
So isn't there also this?
Yeah, sorry.
This I was just going to add to just that before we get too derailed. But isn't there some new like information that the original this shooting attempt person was like emailing the sheriff of the town, and that information came out recently? But anyway, let's not get sidetracked. That was my fault.
Are you talking about the light-skinned black guy that ran with the shotgun and didn't do nothing? Who just ran in like it was a prop and didn't even.
I can't remember if it was that one or if it was the actual like ear clipping one. But
okay.
But anyway, Bridget, what was your thought about the recent Trump like interview and the Knicks game and stuff?
Oh. Sorry, I got really distracted at the start. I realized I had another tab open in the background, which somehow had the stream running. So
Oh, good. Okay, well, at least we know what it was. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I felt a bit bad, like not resolving it for you, but I was like,
no, it was me, and that's why I was so confused. Like, well, it has to be me now, but it was like properly doing my head in.
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
I mean, it's I think it's one of it's quite interesting to see someone out in public just so widely hated and yet with still so much power. It's kind of I mean, I always think that people should be able to recall politicians that they hate, and I feel like at this point it should be like enough people that are like, come on, guys, we fucking hate this dude. And also, why would you come to New York? I know he's from New York. They don't like you there, dude. They just they fucking hate you. I don't know what you expected. And also that he went there like there was like while he was there, like there was like a helicopter got like hit by Iran, and it's like why you're doing like war crimes over there. You decide to turn up to like a fucking game. You fell asleep during it as well.
Oh,
So
God.
like he disrupted like the watch party outside, right? It's like people couldn't come up and actually fans couldn't watch the game when they were supposed to. Big crowds, like traffic around the city all fucked. For him to turn up there, he doesn't know what the fuck's happening. He probably doesn't know that there's a Knicks game on. He probably doesn't remember who the Knicks are. I mean, I barely know who the fucking Knicks are, but like, that's for different reasons. And then he just falls asleep during. He's like, what? Why are we wasting our time bending over backwards for this fucking dude? And I know why, because he's technically in charge of the country, but I don't know. There's a level to this. I mean, like right now, it's the same thing in the UK, right? People fucking hate Keir Starmer, and he's just in there. And it's like at least then there's a sort of pressure of social shame that everyone expects them to resign when they get unpopular enough. And like there's none of that in the USA because it's not really a thing that people do. And because it's not a parliamentary system, you can't really get shoved out like you can in some other countries. So he's just there, and it's like, well, he has to sit there for 2 more years unless he croaks.
Yeah, 100%. No, and I think like you said, the brazenness of him going to one of the like biggest games of the moment in a famously like, you know, progressive state at the moment and place at least. To me, it just came across. I mean, people throw this term around a lot, but it does show narcissistic tendencies to assume, like it's like he's incapable of understanding how disliked he is. Probably because he's surrounded by yes men as well. But like, what to me, like on a human level, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think like people are going to just at least just ignore you like a old man and just let you watch the game and just be like, oh, that's just the old annoying president? Like, no, like. It's just wild. The like cognitive dissonance to not assume you're going to get booed. Like, but then again, I think to myself, maybe up in his ballroom, no one tells him the truth. Maybe people generally must tell him like, oh, you're so popular, Mr. President, like all the time. So he must get so baffled. He's like, they love me in New York, they love me everywhere. Like maybe he's just unaware. Like, but then like Soul Bunny quite rightly connected to like the interview where someone tells him the basic truth, the basic bare minimum, like, okay, you know, the sky is blue. He can't even handle that. So then you think, well, maybe he must know all of this. He's just in denial. He doesn't know what to do. He's like a big baby.
I think there's a level to which he definitely knows, at least on some level,
like physically, yeah,
the kind of backlash he's dealing with. Because there was that whole point just before he started this whole shit with Iran that because obviously that was when people were still talking about the Epstein saga, and we haven't talked about it for a while because he started doing other crimes against humanity in the corner.
Crimes, yeah.
But there was definitely a level there you could tell like and this is like a thing a lot of politicians do. They think, well, I'll start a war and then everyone will love me because this all happened with like Bush and stuff like that. And like they do this in the UK with like, oh, well, Thatcher got popular when she did a war. It's like, well, it's not just a war. You can't just do a war and then become popular. Like, you can't just assume everyone's going to be, oh, they're all going to love this. They love it when I murder people. But I think he definitely knew that there was something going on. I don't know if he knows now, just because his brain's a bit muddled and because he is, surrounded by yes men. But he's always been surrounded by yes men, even when he wasn't a politician. Like, he was a billionaire. He was like a big TV star. Before that, he was like a big real estate mogul. And like, how many people are going to tell him no and stick around? Like, not that many. So you have to have a certain amount of sense to sort of get around in the world with that many yes men and make it to this point. But I think he's also just arrogant enough to believe that he can push through it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that interview as well, I'm surprised he does interviews anymore. I mean, he doesn't have to.
I kind of thought that too. A part of me was like, okay, what were you expecting? And like, oh, I'm surprised he does interviews with anyone outside of like Fox News or like any media that he can completely vet. 'Cause I'm surprised he's not seeing every question. I'm surprised he's not like not doing it live, like edited. We'll cut that, like, because I'm like, yeah, surely he must know he might get that level of pushback of like the basic facts of life. If he doesn't want to do an interview covering that, then he needs these like puff pieces that usually are done by, bought media. Like, yeah, I felt that too. I was like, why are we here then? Like, if you can't sit and do that, why bother?
Well, I think it's because right now CBS is ran by Barry Weiss, who's a Zionist. So I think he's playing both sides in some ways, in the sense of like Democratic media was purchased by a Republican. I forgot exactly who it was, but it's all these figures who are buying up Viacom, who are buying up all these stations, and are like, I mean, you remember when they got rid of Jimmy Kimmel? Obviously, he's a liberal, but that was like the start of just like him saying like, okay, we're reshaping the media that's going to coddle me. And as they saw, so Trump probably thought like, okay, we went and fired everyone. We all did the DEI fires as well. We made sure it's only white staff. They've like really rolled out the red carpet for him, and it's still never going to be enough because he's a narcissist and because I think he has dementia. He probably don't remember all of that, like all the things that people did to basically give him an easy softball interview, and he can't even do that. And I think like I said, like we're in a position where no one has integrity in politics other than like actual progressives, and like like it's just like I think this is the end of America. I think Trump was the final nail of the coffin for the American empire. I mean, if you know like about Christian nationalists in America, like they believe he's doing everything the Bible is saying he needs to do, and he's going to destabilize our country, weaken it. I'm not saying I need my country to be super strong in the world government or anything, but I'm saying I just feel like he's in a way like I don't think he's purposely being incompetent. I just think he's just incompetent naturally, and I mean, like, yeah. So, and remember, this is all because Obama, back in like what was that 2014, 2015, when they made them jokes about Trump at that. I forgot it was, and that was what set him up. Like, you know what? I'm gonna take your job. And it was his fragile ego. All it took was Obama making jokes. I forgot what it was. It was like the president dinner thing. Like how he just the moment like that guy. It was Obama's back in I think 2015. And you just remember seeing him sit there
with like the prayer video, the birth video, or whatever it was.
No, yeah, you remember him just sitting there, just like mad. He's quiet. He's not. He's just still, just like thinking like how he's gonna get revenge. And yeah, so I do think because our country, particularly my country, America, has always lacked integrity. Has always just like they've made it space for someone like him because no one's gonna hold. Like we saw with January 6th. They were doing the bipartisan bullshit with the impeachment stuff. They weren't impeaching candidates. They weren't impeaching congressmen, senators, none of that. It's just like these were like basic, like on paper, is it the law? And no one wants to enforce it. And it's because I think they're all tied. They all are doing evil, creepy, things in email files. So that's why I think like maybe, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I just feel like that's the only rational thing I can think of is like why no one is actually coming out because everyone has everyone's dirty secrets, so we're just kind of forced to instead of like you need to go, you need to leave your seat since you all got dirty secrets, you all doing bad things that you probably go to jail for, but because they're probably like in that secret, they're all gonna like if you snitch on me, I'm snitching on you. So I think like that's like the unspoken thing. So that's why they're doing the political theater, they're doing all the weaponized incompetence and whatnot because they know if they were to actually be honest and say what they need to say. They're probably going to have their stuff aired out, all the little eagle. So I think realistically, just because of how corrupt our politicians and all the evil stuff we do already know about, let alone the things we don't know, I think, that's why people say Washington, D.C. is soulless. Like, it's filled with just like, I mean, I remember that guy that was in the wheelchair, that Republican, when he made fun of them, like, oh, they're all cokeheads and whatnot. They're over here doing coke on cookers. And they quickly got his ass out. Within less than 6 months, they got a new candidate, had him out. And he was just doing a casual interview. He just like made a joke, and because he opened up to a little too much, they got him out real quick. So I mean, that's like my side of like, okay, so yeah, so I think that's my genuine as an American, my belief is like, yeah, I think there's a lot of unforeseen things that's stopping people from doing what they need to do because they're covering their own ass. So fuck the country, fuck the people, fuck the kids, fuck the kids, everything. They care more about themselves not being in jail than saving the country.
I think this is why I think I'm a little bit scared that like sort of the end of America is a bit too optimistic for what's going to happen, right? Because they have this thing. Obviously, the Ellisons Larry Ellison took over like CBS, and now they like Barry Weiss is moving on to CNN now, and like you have these people like actual pedophiles and stuff in Congress because they're friends with certain Republicans, and everyone's names are all on the Epstein shit, and just nothing's going to be done about it. So it's clear the rot's not going to move, and like this stuff has happened before in like say like Putin in Russia or in like Erdogan in Turkey or like Orban in Hungary, but that's kind of over now, maybe ish, depending on what happens with Peter Major. But one of the things, but like, I do worry it's just going to become a bit just obviously and just more openly corrupt. It's already corrupt, but just very much on its face with it and just less room to maneuver. But I mean, I am interested a little bit if your take of like because I was thinking about this when he's in New York, and they obviously feel very differently to the parts of the country that voted him. Obviously, the split in America is no longer geographic like it was back in the day. It's very much more sort of age-based and class-based, and it's much more mixed up. It's not very clean. But like, do you think there's even a chance of like balkanization happening in the future, or is it like I genuinely don't know. I'm asking.
What's balkanization for the?
So balkanization is a process where a country it's fragmented into smaller countries, basically.
Oh, sure.
So
like states
the Balkans, where the name comes from. So like Yugoslavia,
Right.
very cool country, very cool. No, love Josip Broz Tito, my number one and only. But yeah, and in the 90s, and it split into Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, North Macedonia, Kosovo. I'm forgetting one. Someone's gonna be mad at me. Montenegro. So just like splitting into smaller polities that are more easy to govern, or the like local guys who have like, so a lot of this is like, well, I am like they were doing it by nationality, but it's just the idea of splitting into smaller countries that are sort of seen as easier to govern from one way or another when the large political entity isn't stable enough anymore,
Maintain itself
and doesn't have the will of the people to govern each and every single one of them. It's a bit of a bad explanation, but you get what I mean. It's like a sort of like if an independent, say like New England or Cascadia, people talk about a lot, or like Texas or California went off. Is that even a possibility? Because people talk about it a lot, and I can't really see it, but I'm not there, so I don't know what the feeling is on the ground.
I would love to hear Selbani's opinion. I remember asking someone like a couple of years ago when like things with the border in Texas were happening, and I was like, is that even a possibility? And they said like it is actually because like the decentralization of America will be much harder, like physically, like where armies are, where like resources are and farms and food. Like there would be certain states that just couldn't function as their own country. It's not like every state's like its own little country. It's like one big like farming area, one big e-commerce area and stuff, which is what they said at the time, or in America. I thought that was interesting. But I definitely think we're seeing the beginning of the end. But yeah, Selbani, I'd love to hear.
I'm gonna say so. Yeah, you're right about how each state. So certain for example, California, we're self-sufficient outside of water. That's the only thing stopping us from we need water from Oregon, which is above us, etc. But like states like my state, California, we help so many countries. States. We help Republican states. We be paying for their food stamps, which is if you know what that is, or EBT. That's the term. CalFresh is what we. So yeah, we be paying for they'll sit here and it's like, I don't want y'all. You all keep out government handouts, and it's literally because they don't have enough taxpayer money in their states to fund all the necessities. So states like mine, it's mostly blue states who will go out of our way. When we grow, like Central California is just farmland basically. Yeah, there's towns and whatnot in cities, but it's generally we grow so much. I think we grow at least 8 states worth of food. Certain things. There's very particular fruits and vegetables and produce that we grow that all these countries. Oh, sorry, I keep saying they act like all these states who keep sitting here. I mean, dogging us, and like they don't realize like your state is so broken and raggedy that like the only like it will literally be like the trailer park white people with no dental care, teeth hanging out on EBT and stuff over here, not realizing it's California taxpayer money that is paying for your EBT. Your state don't have enough money to give social things because they defund them. So when they defund them, they have us carry the burden, and
Crazy.
because in a way, like we stuck our neck out and we keep getting. I mean, that's why California's like, just snatch it away. But also, I don't want to take away food from there's people of color and impoverished people who need that. So it's like you're in a position where like, do we snatch away since you want to keep voting against us, keep trying to like dog on us while you keep, but you happy to take our money. So let's see, this is so funny. We snatch the funds, then you're gonna realize how raggedy your state is. But because we know that would destabilize a lot of these states, we're kind of locked in. We kind of like we can't help. So we whether so, but I'm more humanitarian, so I don't want to take that away from them. But even that was an option. We can't because America works in a way where we rely on each other to be able to have food in the grocery stores, to have everything. Like we're all doing our. I mean, the Midwest, corn. They grow all the corn there. And there's so many corn products. I mean, we're one of the most that have corn syrup too. So all that stuff, like we need that. We have that. So in a way, we're not really in a position we can't. We're in a position where we can't really rely on on just like individual states on their own, because it would I mean, it would just like cause a civil war. Like that's what we had initially when people wanted to break away. Even if like say California was like, I'm done, I'm gonna break away. You know what would happen? The Republican states would invade us. They're like, let's go get y'all now. You're traitors. And so
I was
like we're
just
not.
gonna say, yeah, like it's not to say that that might not happen. It's because that you know we could see that happen, and then certain states do just not benefit. But like, so yeah, you're saying if that happened, it caused that kind of a problem, like another kind of civil war chance.
Well, yeah, especially California and New York, we are the biggest federal taxpayers in the country. Like most of the country's federal money that taxes that people benefit throughout the rest of the country, all the states, that's mostly California taxes. They keep sending your economies, and it's our tax money. We were literally funding almost upwards to 50% of the tax burden is from California paid tax dollars. Um, so not only do we help people, but the amount, because our state, California, is 3 states long. It's the length of 3 states stacked up on each other. So we have such a high, some of the highest population, and density of people, and we do all this stuff. So we're not, yeah, we can't. It's just kind of like they rely on us. Like we
Yeah,
literally,
definitely.
like this country operates based off of our tax money, but you know we're frauds all the time, I guess.
I've heard the same about in New York as well, isn't it? Like quite a financial hub that generates a lot of like tertiary industry income, like online businesses and stuff. So like, but this all this to say, like, I don't disagree. Like, I don't think this is. I don't think that means that the US is going to perpetually maintain itself, especially with its inevitable, like, because all of the resources taken from other countries as well, like that's also continuous to maintain the USA as a state. I can't same for most, you know, Western nations, but like I think we are seeing the end of the American empire, American like United States, like as it stands though, in some form. Like I think this is the downhill of a superpower. I think we're at least watching that. Like China is sitting back and just like it's like do nothing and win. Like so, and I do think that if basically from my understanding of it, if America can't maintain world peace as the superpower itself declares itself to be, then other countries that need certain stability and safety on a global scale are going to look for another superpower. They will be usurped whether they like it or not, like Game of Thrones style, you know. And at the moment, they are causing more instability than not. Like I don't know, maybe that's naivete, maybe it's always been like that.
I mean,
but
they've always caused more instability, but they sort of had control of the narrative, right? So it's a bit different. I do agree, though, in most part. I think like it's definitely interesting some of the historical parallels, like a lot of the way that China is sort of sitting there just building itself right now and getting a good reputation does feel very similar to how the US was during World War II, especially, where like every other superpower just basically blew each other to bits, and then at the end they were like, okay, we'll sweep in here, and then we'll be the
Yeah.
superpower, and basically Britain is like, well, I guess we'll concede that we'll be the junior partner, and a lot of people have sort of said that the Iran war is America's Suez moment, and I can't really disagree. I think, to be fair, I mean, I guess is why it's an analogy that works, is that like the British Empire was very much dead in the water before then. But I think it's the moment when people in that sort of structure realize, oh shit, we actually can't do anything. We have no sway over the world anymore. And when America said, you guys pack up and go home, it's like, well, I guess we're packing up and going home. And eventually it's going to have to happen here because there's no way the US gets out of this winning. And it's just a question of how they lose and what face they put on it. And I think it has revealed a lot to the world, basically, that the US is much more of a paper tiger than they thought, which is, well, I guess, one of the reasons why people kept teasing invading Iran and then never doing it, despite them clearly being bloodthirsty enough to do it, because they realized this was the sort of thing that would happen. And I think what is absolutely, like you said, I think it has made China look a lot more appealing, especially to places that feel like they need a security guarantor. And a lot of countries do still feel like that. As much as it'd be nice if everyone could be self-sufficient, a lot of them are still looking out for someone to sort of, be their big brother behind them, so they don't get fucked around by other countries. So it is interesting. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I think because Trump's in charge, I do fear how it turns out more than them just being a little embarrassed about it. I don't know how he ends this without just either dying and then the next guy is just like, oh, that was a mistake, or he can sort of sell it as a victory. But then again, this gets into the whole thing with, I think he tried to do that before, and right now Israel will not let him do that. And clearly, him and Bibi are wrapped up in some shit. There's a lot of, since with the Epstein connections with Trump, obviously people have a lot of blackmail on him. He's very easily blackmailable by a lot of countries. And Israel's very good at getting blackmail. That's sort of part of the reason their spy operation is so extensive, because it's, you can push a lot above your weight if you have blackmail on everyone, and it seems to have worked. So, I mean, if I guess the future of the US depends on Israel being normal,
which is a bleak outcome. Like I think I'd love to. Oh, go on, somebody. What are you gonna say?
I was just gonna say Israel. I think the problem is that they're in their own psychosis. Israel and the state themselves, so they're locked in, it's stuck. And then also Christian in America, they have the Christian nationalists, which is mostly boomers and Gen Xers who are selling out not just the youth but the rest of the world, because a magic book says so. And honestly, there's more talks of like young people, Gen Z and millennials saying, you know what, y'all are sacrificing us, we gonna have to sacrifice y'all first now. And I that's kind of what it's getting towards, because at the end of the day, like you said, like it's an age divide. It's not even just like regional. It's like, it's the people like my dad's side, like my elders, who have been racist their entire life, who have believed in their racism. I mean, also, like, these are people who grew up during segregation, who wasn't taught that the N-word was a slur. And these people don't teach their kids that, and then you get millennial and Gen Z who understand that's within our curriculum, but it wasn't part of their curriculum. So we're dealing with people who are undereducated, who are literally like, that's why like the hate is so intense, is because it's like no one really when it came to like the civil rights movement, like no one really they just kind of like, oh, okay, we passed the bill, desegregation's gone, okay, go back to home, go back to your circles, don't make friends with like black and brown folks, don't try to push the cause. Like, they went home so early, and now we're left with a mess. And that's why we have the most bigoted elderly probably in the world, like literally, like, and these people, like I'm saying, I grew up with religious trauma, I grew up with the fear of the rapture. These people feel so justified in their hate, and that's why like they're so like not caring about Palestinians, because oh well, the Bible says so. Bye. They don't like it. That is their logic, and so I don't know. These people need to get retirement homes. They need to have their votes snatched. They they need to put a limit on how old people can vote, because at the end of the day, even if there's like a small amount of Democrat elder people, honestly, we would win more putting a limit on the elderly who are not connected, or like I would say like at the age 80 you should not be able to vote. I think you've done your service. It's time for you to rest and let the next generation vote and put in power and whatnot. But until everyone's racist granny could go get a ride to go to the polls or put her mail in, we're gonna be in this because it's these elderly that's putting us here. So, I mean, that's the humane way is to snatching away your vote. Really, people's asking you guys to go. You really need to go, but you lucky. We have common sense, and we don't want to get there, but it's getting to that point where like that is a dialogue amongst Gen Z much more. It was like they're gonna like kill us all. I mean, we've been talking about this politically. That's why everyone in like Congress and Senate are like in their 80s. We have one person that's 92 who's sitting there in office, like no term limit. So it's like this is by design. America is operating exactly how it's supposed to be, and I think that's what people are seeing. They're like, what? I'm like, it's. I mean, because if they didn't want, we have also our Supreme Court who are life appointees, something that was put up there in 1776 that could have been, but they like that structure because it upholds oppression. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
voting away
yeah.
climate change measures and stuff, because they'll be dead before then, and we're all gonna have to fucking suffer through it.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's like a big thing for climate change. But like, I also do think, like, I mean, I agree. I think that there will be way sooner than they realize, and I think then like most of the people in the world realize, like, there will be a crossing point where whether they're still in power, whether they're still in term, whether they're still voting or not, doesn't matter. The emergency of like the climate crisis, of the poverty crisis, of all of these things will overlap, and it will, if it can't be resolved with like civil politics, then I think people push to desperation because of like a food famine or weather crisis and stuff. That's going to be, I think, a huge overpowering turn. And I think like we don't even, I think that literally looking at the data of the climate crisis and everything like that, from what's even like the base level expected, I don't think the political world is ready for what that will look like globally. Having an entire country that's uninhabitable moving north, like we won't have time to put a bill for about immigration. It will be waves of people that need food, like, and I worry what that looks like. I really do. And I think like to bring it back to like Trump and America as an administration is so incapable. It's proven to be incapable. Anyone that does anything wrong is replaced. Most of them are drinking on the job. So like there's no way there's no way like
so I just thought of Cash
manage.
Patel.
Yeah, Cash Patel, Segheth, like there's no way that administration can function. Yeah, like, and same with the UK. Like there's no way they can barely form a sentence. There's no way they can prepare for what's to come that our generation are charged with.
Yeah, I mean, this is what scares me in particular, like with because they've been manufacturing consent for this immigration panic for so long, and it's going to get so much worse with climate change. And like you were saying, Bunny, with the age thing, and I know I brought that up as well. We were talking about American demographics, but Britain is the most fucking stark age demographic here. Like in America, you have at least like a lot of that's like a whole different thing with like elderly black people tend to still vote Democrat, and there's a lot of young white people who are just racist enough to vote for Republicans. But in like the UK, there's like properly like I remember in 2019, it was like the Conservatives won in like they said it was in like a landslide technically, but like if you look at the actual voting demographics, everyone under 65 voted Labour, and they lost in a landslide, and it was everyone over 65 voted Tory, and it's been the same since. Just on and on. If you look at demographics now, like young people, particularly young women, 85% for the Greens. Like it's crazy. And but the Reform Party, which is basically our Nazi party, is doing gangbusters with old people. Old people fucking love it, and it scares the shit out of me. And the weirdest because there's the whole thing. This probably didn't make international news, but there's been a whole thing recently where they've just been finding any crime that like a person of color does and making it plaster all over the news and saying, well, the leader of the Conservative Party came on TV and she was like, oh, well, clearly we've worked out from this happening that there's no systemic racism in the UK because a black person murdered a white man. It's like, well, that's not how that fucking works. You don't understand the word systemic. Like, but like, it's terrifying. Like, literally, so there was this guy called I think Henry Novak. I think it was Henry Novak, and so Polish guy, like Polish British guy, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, these fucking guys were talking about Polish communities like they were scum and they fucking hated them because like they're just wall-to-wall anti-immigrant. Anti-Polish racism is really strong in the UK because there was a few waves of it, and there's a lot of racists, and especially after the Brexit referendum, there was a whole new wave of hostility towards Polish people. He was stabbed by like a British Sikh man, and they immediately were like, oh, this guy's a white guy now, we love this guy. They were on about banning like ceremonial Sikh weapons and cracking down on Sikh communities. Bear in mind, the Sikh communities are one of the most peaceful ones in the whole fucking country. It's ridiculous. And obviously, like anyone, if one person does a crime, it doesn't mean every group they identify with is to blame. It's obvious, on its face, ridiculous. But Nigel Farage, who's the head of the Reform Party, he literally went on TV and he said, "We need to react with pure cold rage." He said, and he got these race riots going. He went on TV and said, "Do race riots," and they did fucking race riots. And then yesterday there was another stabbing in Northern Ireland, or the occupied territories, and then and there's the same thing, like a Sudanese guy attacked like a guy there, and Elon Musk came in and said, we need race riots. And so there's race riots again in Belfast. And it's just like...
Speaking of Elon Musk, sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I do got to get going, but I want to say this point before I go. Going to Elon, because Elon Musk is also like we talking about the food famine. Doge cut back on everything, that the thing that would stop the screw worms, the thing that would prevent that from the border of Texas, from Mexico, the screw worms, now we're going to have famine. It's already set. It's already here. And you have the AG, the agriculture of like Texas AG, the agriculture, it's agriculture something. They're basically like, no, people care more about their personal profit, that they would not truly report that their animals have screwworm, because they would rather sacrifice us all than them potentially be bankrupt or go through something. And that's already here. Now they're finding them cats and dogs. Just like a couple of days ago, like it went from beating cows, and this is something that they were already warned about a couple years ago, and it was Doge who went and cut the program. I think he cut like over $3 million. I think it was way more than that. That was going to go towards to tracking that, stopping that, and like, so we had the system, and so I feel like people like Elon Musk is purposely helping destabilize other countries, South Africa. And I mean, also he don't pay no damn taxes. Like, look, we got demons.
Well, we got the same in Japan. There's like a bit of a kind of, I can't say too much, but like it's kind of, people are expecting that the government is hiding the truth behind how much reserve gas there is, because after the Strait of Hormuz situation, Japan had a literally countable day amount of oil. But it's also a nation that's very used to its treats. It's never this generation of people would not know what it's like to kind of go without, is my generalized opinion. So the worry that like it not getting oil and gas, or the prices of which in a poverty inflation starting to get really bad in Japan, like the price of gas skyrocketing would affect a lot of people. Like it's kind of a concern that the government is like not telling the full truth basically to the public to avoid civil unrest. That's what I'm talking about with the climate crisis as well. But to go back to what you were saying, Bridget, I saw this, and I saw that the family of the victim even said, we don't want this to be politicized. You know, we don't want this to be an issue. And then Nigel Farage ignored the family, politicized it anyway. And what really gets me about this is that when you ostracize and like oppress and like attack a minority of people, and then they attack back. Not that that's what's happening. That's an overgeneralization, but like any, you know, oppressed minority attacking back out of desperation to me is a different thing. Then they get further dehumanized and like attacked further. And like you say, when Polish people, I remember during Brexit, I have like an embarrassing amount of people that I knew that were like Polish people taking our jobs. Like that was the narrative that was pushed on people. But then also the same narrative is that they come here and they can't work and they get benefits. Like, you know, the narratives don't even make sense.
Against immigrant, yeah.
Yeah, but they are used when it suits them, and that's why like I remember like learning like whiteness is obviously it's skin tone as well, but it's also a used narrative. It's a characterization that is used to benefit white supremacy when it needs to. But like, yeah, I think.
Can I get going? By the way, sorry, I
Sure,
gotta say bye real quick.
Of course, jump
I
off.
want to say, yeah, I have my friend that has to do my laundry because I'm too sick and there's no laundry mat in my house.
Get well.
Get
Thank
well,
you for jumping on, even though you're not well. Speak to you soon.
No,
Message me on Insta. We'll have a chat.
Yeah, cool. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to jump off too, darling? You said you got lots to do.
I do have lots to do, yeah.
Should we
We
call
can
it
wrap
there?
up this point.
We'll wrap up. Yeah, what was I saying? So I saw this and I saw the riots as well, and I always think to myself like, the right has a capability of doing this, and it's allowed by neoliberalism, whereas the left can't even follow civil politics well without it being too attacked. Like Zach Polensky, one thing he said early on that always hit me was that like he's a vegan not out of principle. Veganism isn't like everything about being in the Green Party, but he said that the amount of backlash he gets from anyone for not being the absolute best Green Party member of like, you must be a vegan, you must recycle all of your stuff, you can't leave any room for criticism because they will jump on him. Like he can't even be a part of mainstream politics after being elected and going through all the right routes. He's still slandered at every single angle. But Nigel Farage can literally call for a hate rally, and what happens? Absolutely nothing. And that's why like we are just hurtling down this road. And
Yeah, I was talking about this with Sinan, who was guest last week.
Last
Yesterday,
week.
because it's so apparent to me now that like, he's literally openly causing hate, like race riots. He's directly causing violence. He's trying to make. It's a massive foot on the gas pedal of hurtling towards fascism in this country. News is completely fine with it. In fact, they manufactured the consent for it. They're doing. I saw BBC News earlier because my parents are watching it, and they're like, "Oh, but is he right? You know, what are immigrants doing in this country?" And it's like for years they do this. It's like this is crazy. And when Corbyn was in, they put. I remember he's like that. He just basically said like, "Oh, maybe we should nationalize a few things." And they did this thing on Newsnight. I don't know if you remember, where they had like him as like Professor Quirrell from Harry Potter, and he undid his turban, and Corbyn was on the back of his head like Voldemort, like just implying that he was like the most evil man in the world. And it's just like the way that they act towards someone who wants to do basic nice things like Polanski. They're like, oh, this guy's dangerous. There's someone who's actually encouraging real life hate crimes. They're like, well, this must be legitimate. Like it's
people
so
must be
obvious.
feeling an anger. Yeah, exactly.
But it's weird because it's so everywhere, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I know it's mainly old people that watch TV news and stuff nowadays, but it's scary because you are watching consent being manufactured in real time, and they're just not doing it. They don't care to stop it. They don't think it's going to be a problem for them, obviously, but it's very, very scary. And like, more and more in this country is just, I mean, the British media has always been a massive problem, and it's always been kind of like this. But it does really feel now like they've just decided this is what we want. We want fascism. Let's get everyone prepared to do it. Let's prepare the way for it. Let's prepare the conditions for it. And I don't know how you get out of that situation. I guess what happens is most people stop watching the mainstream news. But then again, that's already happened. That's why the old people who still like read the newspapers are the ones believing this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very scary.
The alternative from that perspective is tax the rich, and they couldn't fathom that. So mass media is like, okay, no, we'll go with the fascism. But I think I always think like I have this weird faith and this weird theory that because of the mass like distribution of social media and a different form of media digestion and information digestion, that paper media and TV has like been able to be so lied about. I mean, obviously they're trying to do that with social media with algorithms and stuff, but that aside for a second, we have a generation of people that are able to get a new found truth online. That's what happened with Israel Palestine. It radicalized a lot of people in our generation, seeing the truth and then seeing mass media lie about it continuously or not cover it correctly. I think that has also had just as much of an effect on Western people being like, well, that's just a lie, hold on, and then you can't trust that thing. I think that there will be like an age out of that media, and we will see that older generations move on. People reading a newspaper will just be something in the ironically, relics of history. And then what happens to that is a different conversation. But like, if we can like avoid fascism by then or not is what I mean. But like, I was talking to a family member quite close to me who is right wing by our terms in all definitions. And we had a 6-hour-long phone call about Israel Palestine, and there was just an innate British like a supremacist notion to them, unbeknownst to them. But one thing that was agreeable was that like mass media does lie on both sides. We both talked about the same situation and had just different information about it. We could both talk about is Palestine defined as an occupation? And I had to actually chat, forgive me for this, for them to come on board or just agree, just to like understand the facts. I had to have them like Google it, and obviously Google, they use the AI function in Google. Couldn't help them, sorry. But even they couldn't deny that the AI function was like, Palestine has been registered as an occupation since 2005. And then you could see the cogs tick, like turning, and to be like, oh, well, shit, she's right. I can't. And like, I think that if we just stay steadfast that like we're basing our stuff on true information. So I feel like there's this like age outness of it. Do you know what I mean? People will stop watching the TV because it's just fake lies. It's just not true. It's just a shame of all of the hate rallies that are going to happen in between then until we can stop Nigel Farage from being able to do that, or like stop Israel from the continued G word. Like, so yeah, I don't know, bit of a pooey conversation to end on.
I agree
but
completely, and I think one of the things that is interesting is because I felt like a lot more optimistic about the future when I wasn't living back here. When you're seeing how like people, the old generations, their media diet, and then my parents are very liberal, but like it's like seeing it, being back in that bubble. You see what people are being fed, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
like it's nuts, and people listen to this every day. You see how it breeds these age divide where people are largely normal, and then everyone above a certain age has been so consent manufactured into believing all this shit that even the ones that consider themselves like pretty moderate before, as much as moderate as anything, are like now, oh, I guess something does need to be done about this. And it really sucks, but it is it's a generational thing. It's a media diet thing. It's it's fucking weird.
I will say, like,
do you have the age divide thing in Japan as well? Like, is the Senseito like more of like an old people party?
I was just gonna say, oh my god. So like, even like, ironically, the Japanese version of that is that like the portion of the population, the whole entire population that even watches global stage political news is far lower, in my like generalized opinion based on soft data. But like, there's a much larger kind of like numbing of the masses with like entertainment, TV, news is like seen as another form of entertainment. Like, if it covers like stage politics, it's very just neutral, touches on it, and then anyway back to the news kind of vibe. There's no way a kind of politicization of any generation, I think. But then so that's something that has started to change. The rise in popularity of the Senseito Party predominantly happened on social media, and it was a radicalization of people that kind of hadn't been touched by politics, so they were able to say similar, like, economy-based pain points, correlate those to the foreigners pretty much in the country, and it was kind of like unchallenged. Like the setup of mass media was unable to like adapt quick enough. But what then did happen is it kind of ate itself as its own ecosystem, and Senseito lost a lot of popularity because they couldn't survive the hype. Let's say so the young people understand. So in a way, they kind of like burn out quite quickly. It wasn't sustained, and obviously mass media isn't going to want to facilitate that anyway. So it was kind of like an odd situation,
Yeah.
where people kind of got unradicalized quite quickly. Like, so yeah, I don't know. I think Japan is a situation where information is starting to hit younger generations through social media. Things like Israel Palestine, like we have Palestine, protests quite frequently out here. You see, and like odd, like there's also not the same stigma. So you get a lot of people that are like not scared to say anything because it's not the same stigma. So I have like an odd faith as well, but like like you say, that faith that you have until you don't, and then it's just as bad.
I mean, the thing that scared me a little bit about that, just because, I mean, obviously, like, they did sort of crash and pit with reality, but also, like, Takaichi is pretty right-wing by herself, and I feel like it reminded me a little bit, and it's because I'm always looking for parallels, which isn't healthy, it's pantsing behavior, but, like, between, like, the way that Farage was on the rise before Boris Johnson was leading the Tory party, and then he sort of ate up that far-right vote, and then as soon as their wing was out, well, he's back again, they have another moment.
Well, what we've seen is that Takaichi, especially with immigration and immigration policies, has been able to take on the kind of anger that Sanseito Party has manufactured, push policies almost in kind of response to them, be like, oh, the nation has asked for harsher immigration policies. We will answer in half, to kind of like appease the Sanseito Party fandom, and then has been able to do things that like maybe were kind of not a bonus to the right-wing agenda, but like works adjacent to it that probably wouldn't have been possible were Sanseito to not just suddenly gain popularity. And there's a lot of misplaced anger at like immigrants, obviously, there is across the world. But like, yeah, it's very much like using it to fuel ongoing projects that it looked like I watched your boys video. I say it kind of gave the guy, the main villain in that, where he was kind of like, oh, I can get away with that too. Okay, pile it on. Now we can charge 10 times more for visas and immigrants in Japan. Okay, it was kind of giving that, but at the same time, I think, Japanese younger generations are also so quick to catch wind of good things as well. I have a little bit more of optimism here because I don't know. I don't know how to generalize, but
I mean, I guess it's interesting because I guess Farage and Trump are both very much like creations of the mainstream media in both countries. Like Trump is very much like he's the apprentice guy before anything. That's where most people heard of him from. Farage, as in many right-wing figures in the UK, was boosted by he's on Newsnight every fucking second and Question Time, all this stuff. And before that, he was on Have I Got News for You like a bunch, and a lot of people, I mean, I'm sure people have, but people need to talk more about how safe liberal politics panel shows really took the fangs off some of these more extreme people, which does make a difference. I think the thing in I guess it depends how well you can use the extremists that are radicalized by the internet, which I think is what he's trying to do now with these hate marches. Elon Musk has definitely done this. Like Musk and Tommy Robinson have coordinated on a lot of this stuff to pull these hate rallies together and cause people to attack each other. And it's just, as much Farage can keep his distance from Tommy Robinson, but obviously they're in the same direction. And I think he's realizing now that he can play both sides. He can be like, oh, I condemn that guy, but then just use him to do the
100%.
Stuff he needs to. Yeah.
I also have to just do another video, another essay, another episode about Elon Musk, but like, get the F out of other people's politics. I just like, what, again, like, how is this allowed? Get the fuck out. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I will legitimately rage out if I go on about this. Like, I need to like.
His justifications is that he's like British South African, but everyone thinks he's a Boer over here, so I don't know what he thinks.
Well, then get out of American politics. Then, like, well, of course, get out of the Germany. Like, didn't he go to that Germany conference being like, you should fear your history? Like.
Yeah, no, he went to the AfD conference of the new Nazi party in Germany, and he was like, you shouldn't be ashamed of your history. It's like, no, you fucking should.
That's
yes, you fucking
crazy.
Should.
Like, what is he doing? He's just some guy with like a drug issue. Yeah. Anyway, I was going to say, let's end it on a quick positive note, because I feel bad for chat. We've just basically talked about how shit things are for this like whole entire time. Sorry, chat. We love you. Are you doing okay? What are your plans for Pride? Is there anything exciting going on in the UK for Pride?
Let's see.
Do you feel safe
when is
out there for Pride? Go on.
I mean, no, we do. I said, when is trans? Trying to work out when Trans Pride in Nottingham is. It's either next week? Next weekend. So I will be going to Trans Pride, and I will be going to Transsexuals later that night if I can remember to get my ticket. Then my friend told me that she's the DJ there. I need to get the ticket. I have not got the ticket yet. I'm very sorry. But I will be doing that. I'm not sure what else. I mean, if people invite me, I will go. But also, I'm just very busy right now, and I've been quite burned out for a while, and still kind of getting used to being back. I know it's been 6 months, but it feels kind of weird to be here again. But yeah, no, I will be doing that. I will be dancing. Unfortunately, not a big dancer person, but I will be peer pressured into wiggling my bum a little bit. Unfortunately for everyone that has to see me. Yeah,
I wish I was there to witness.
It's going to be a good time. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Maybe one day. If we go to Japan, Sinan's been trying to strong on me to go to Japan, but I need money.
Yeah, come. Oh my God, I'd love to show you around. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. If you would want it, we've got like a whole routine of like where we take people, or like suggestions at least if like schedule doesn't work. Cause we live in west, so like the Kansai region, which is a few hours from Tokyo, but like it's also like so many different prefectures that are so great to like visit. So whenever we have family over, we like find a central hub and we're like pop out to like Kobe, to Kyoto, to Nara, and so yeah, we got.
Is Kansai where they have like beef tongue?
Yeah, beef. Well, Kobe beef is like from Kobe. I don't know. I think everywhere has that generally, but maybe it's different in certain regions.
I played in this is gonna sound the most weeb shit I've ever said in my life. In Persona 5 Strikers,
my husband's
the Dynasty Warrior game for Persona 5. You go to different parts of Japan and do little tourism things there. So I'm just
my husband's a huge Persona fan. He said they just released a new announcement as well. Persona 6. Yeah, he was like,
they revealed absolutely nothing. It's like, oh, it's green.
He was like, oh, maybe we'll get it by like 2030. I was like, oh. Late stage.
Maybe.
Optimism.
I feel bad because I got into it like 2 years ago, so I got to enjoy it all. I don't have to wait for fucking anything.
Oh, nice. That is how you do it. That is how you do it. Pride for me looks like living in rural Japan. I'm technically like stealth. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I don't think I could explain my identity to people around here like without having to sit down and be like, so gender it's so like or I'm like completely delulu and like everyone knows and they're like, have you seen who lives down there, you know, like, and I'm just like,
I felt this way in Croatia. There's no way to separate
knows.
It's like
it's like it is 100% or nothing. Like there are times when they'll pop by and pick up like or drop off some vegetables or pick up a thing I have to pay, and I'm like no makeup, in my pajamas, tits out for Harambe, and I'm just like, what do they think of us? Like, maybe they see everything. I don't know. Like, anyway, but so Pride obviously isn't exactly a thing as much around here. I do know that there was a Trans Pride festival in Tokyo, which was cool. We would have gone to that if we could have travelled there. We were looking at tickets and stuff, but travelling to Tokyo is like quite far. But so my Pride looks like content creation. There you go. For anyone, I'm going to plug it shamelessly. I
just
did
what Marsha P. Johnson would have wanted.
the real revolution. No, but I did this just like I try to just sometimes do just like positive content that's just not like, hey, the world's burning. So I did this like breakdown of Dropout. I don't know if you know about Dropout. They're like a streaming service, but they've done like content before. But
I do occasionally watch Game Changer and make some noise. I haven't got into the Dimension 20 stuff yet because I promised myself I'll watch Critical Role first. And then every episode's an hour and a half long, and so I haven't done that.
Just gonna say, fair. It's like watching the whole of One Piece. You'll be there a while. But no, I released that. So anyone in chat after this, we're about to call it a day. But if you want to go and check that out, it's a good something to watch for just some positive thing. And it kind of ended up being like a Pride suggestion watch list of like if you want to know like something to stick on when you got friends around and you're having a little Pride party, what you can watch in the background. But well, thank you for jumping on, Bridget. I know you're really busy, and time-wise it's so late where you are. But hopefully next week we got Swolson back, and if Turb can join, that would be great too. They're officially always welcome.
So we love having a cryptid as a host on the show. We never know when they're going to turn up.
Yeah, we need some variety and some spice. It's like we shouldn't all get used to routine, because time is a made up theory. Okay, well, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you for everyone for jumping on, and have a wonderful week. How do I end the stream? I'm such an old person. Stay just for a second, if you don't mind, and let me end it. Right, end stream.
This will be me next week when I finally manage to set up the fucking stream.
Yeah. Oh,
I
it would be
finally
good
got